For this tip, I want to make sure that you are properly shooting from a seated position. Now, obviously, in this case, I'm in a ground blind, but even in a tree stand, shooting from a seated position requires proper technique. You want to imagine if you're standing up shooting at a target. If I was shooting at you as a target, I'm not going to try to shoot like this, which is what I see commonly when I'm hunting in a ground blind with someone, because they're wanting to face forward and be looking at where the action is. And then once something starts to develop, I don't see them shifting themselves. Just like if you were going to shoot from a standing position, you would be this way so that you could raise your bow and draw all the way back. And that way you've got full expansion. Whereas if you're trying to shoot head on like this, you're not going to have proper technique, and obviously your anchor position, your possibly your arrow clearance or pressure on the arrow from a face mask. You know, your draw length's going to feel way too long if you're facing the target like this. So proper technique requires you to think of your knees the same as if you were looking down at your feet. And this is something that you should do. You know, you don't have to do it during daylight. If you're out hunting, set up a little thing outside of your garage where you can just practice out of a chair, sitting down and making proper shots. The other thing too is when you think of your knees like your feet and you're turning those, it gives you clearance for your bow as well, versus trying to do it head on like this is going to be tough. So what I do for practice, and this is important for several reasons. The other reason is I have this window right here undone because I wanted you to be able to see this ledge. It's important that you know your chair height so that when you're in a blind shooting at the height of an animal that is out of that blind, that you're not going to be putting an arrow into the bottom of this window, which is so common. I've done it. I've been with tons of other people that have done it. Or if you end up trying to shoot standing out of a blind, knowing where your top limb clearance is as well so that you can shoot out of these windows. Take a target out with you to a spot where you have, set that target out there and just make a shot or two, making dang sure that you're not going to hit this, just in case you have to change the height of that seat. Some of the portable chairs that are really low really put you in a compromising position. The best thing that you can do is just raise your bow arm up to where the height of that target should be out there, or an animal. Raise up to that height, and if your fist is at the height or higher, your fist of that window, when you're aiming your pin at the height of that animal, then your arrow is going to clear because your arrow will be above your fist. But if your fist is beneath that window, then there's a good chance that could be a serious problem. So I'm going to make a shot here quick, and just to make sure I've got proper technique, I have my long bow window open. It's right there. So I'm going to pretend that I'm in a neutral stance position. Knowing that that's my main window, I've also got my chair far enough back so that when I raise my bow, I'm not contacting the front of that window with my arrow. And I also make sure I have enough clearance here in the back for my elbow. So again, I get in my position so that just like if I was standing, I'm able to do this. If you want to remain quiet, you should also work on lifting yourself up and then repositioning rather than dragging yourself across any chair. You should be able to do this, and it's something that you could practice easily, and it's going to be really important when the time's right.